Welcome everyone to Video Marketing for Accountants. In today's episode, we're going to do a deep dive into YouTube Analytics. Today is October 18th, 2018, and my email is Hector at Garcia CPA if you need me for anything related accounting. I am not a marketing expert. I am not a marketing consultant. I'm not a YouTube expert or a YouTube consultant. However, I like to believe that I created a very strong brand in YouTube in terms of my marketing videos and how I get new clients. And just to give you some context, 95% of my new clients come from YouTube. And we ask this question. It's actually a required, we say where, we actually say who recommended you to us? That's the question that we ask. Who recommended you to us? And if someone doesn't have a name, normally they say YouTube. And they used to say the internet. Now they say, now the people are very specific. Also, I post my email in every one of my videos. So almost every time when people email me, they actually say, by the way, I saw your video in YouTube, and then whatever the request is. So we effectively measure 95% of our new clients, pretty much all new clients come from YouTube. The other ones that don't are because it's a word of mouth, because otherwise I don't do any other type of marketing. So I made it sort of a life goal as well to help my colleagues, accounting professionals, understand the power of video and the power of YouTube, and improve the overall knowledge of the small business world of accounting. So together with that, I also believe that there should be more than one or two people making videos in YouTube. I think there should be a whole army, a whole slew of us. And that's why I create these webinars. Also, this webinar serves as a good preparation for me because I'm going to teach at the National QuickBooks Conference called QB Connect, a video marketing class. And I have some new content that I'm going to test out. So for some of you that are not attending the conference, you're going to get a little bit of some sort of new content I'm putting out there. So let me start with what I call the basic branding strategy. And I got this from Patrick Hallen's book, Primal Branding. I actually learned this in a YouTuber conference, where is the same place that I happened to meet our guest speaker, Dane, and I'll bring him in a few minutes. And I actually really like this. I think it's simple enough so everybody gets it. So the premise is that if you are going to make YouTube videos, not a videos, right? You're going to have a channel. And this channel is going to represent your business or yourself, and it's going to become a brand. And what you want to do is either move the crowd, the followers, the people towards having an idea of what you are and what you represent, or use these techniques in order to quickly help people understand what you're all about. So these are sort of like the seven areas of focus to think about when it comes to inventing, reinventing, or designing your brand. So we'll start with creation story. So every brand needs to have a creation story. Okay, Microsoft and Apple, they have the working out of the garage type of creation story, and Google and Amazon, and they all have it. And it's really, really important for people to know that you started somewhere where you were zero, and now that you're someone that there was a journey. Okay, the journey is really important because when you create videos and you want people to take action, it's because they are in a place in their own journey, whatever it is, running a business, figuring out accounting problems, whatever type of video you're creating, they are also part of a journey, and they have their own story. So knowing that you went through, problems, and you started from zero, and now you're someone, that creates value, a professional, whatever you happen to be, I think people like to know that you're a human being and you go through the same struggles that everybody does. And that creation story also sort of creates the foundation elements of your values and your brand and all of that stuff. Second one is your creed. Now, this is basically something that you believe on, right? So Apple believes on think different. This is their slogan. Now, your creed could be your slogan, doesn't necessarily have to be your slogan, but your creed determines how you as the leader and everyone in your organization feels, and what is it that what's the reason they wake up in the morning, what keeps them up at night, what uh, what you're striving towards. Your creed is also who you serve, who you don't serve. So a lot of positioning and specialization plays into that creed, right? Like, what I believe in, what I don't believe in. Then the icons, and the icons could be seen as different things. An icon is obviously your face. If you're showing your face in the video, probably the most important of all the icons would be your face. Another icon would be the background. So if you do have a background in your office, and whatever the background should also say or spell part of the message that you're giving out. Now, in some cases, like in my case, I'm recording this from a little tiny home office that I have. My background is not sexy at all, but it's consistent. So when people watch my videos over and over and over and they see the background, they're like, oh, he recorded that from his home office. But then when I'm somewhere else, people automatically think of that first. So that's a really important piece. If you change backgrounds on people, people will actually be distracted by that. Now that could be, they could be distracted positively or they could be distracted negatively, right? So you have to think about your environment as your icon as well. Now your icon is also your company logo. So if you present your company logo at the very beginning of the video, that's part of your icon. If you have a picture of your office, that's part of your icon. I believe that even your office decoration, when people walk into your office, it's part of the icon. So the reason why I'm talking about these things are obvious, these are obvious things. This is for the purpose of you being able to write them down and designing what your brand will look like and designing what your customers will be exposed to when they're watching your videos. So that's kind of the myth behind it. Now the rituals are really important. The rituals is what behavior they're expecting to see from you. So if you have the same intro every time, like, hi, I'm Hector Garcia, and and my life goal is to help business owners take more vacations, right? Let's say if I were to do that, it feels like a creed because I'm saying it, but in some cases, a ritual doesn't necessarily have to be words. So a ritual is, for example, when you go to doctor's office, what's the ritual, right? And you know this. The ritual is, I gotta go confirm that I'm there. I gotta fill out a bunch of forms and I have to wait 2 hours, right? That's a ritual, right? That becomes part of the brand. And when people say doctor's appointment, immediately you think about the hassle that it is to finally go see a doctor. You want a positive ritual. You want a ritual that is seen as a positive thing. When people think, I'm going to go do work with Hector, I'm going to go do work with Dane or whatever, they want to think of that ritual as part of how the interaction is. So when in the context of video, the ritual is what you do, what you say on the video, and what you do every single time, sort of religiously, and that should translate into how people will infer the experience where you will be. The fifth one here is the pagans, and the book says the pagans, but I think the best thing is to say the haters. For you to know that you're doing something right, you have to have people against it. I mean, this is just human nature. If you are pushing the envelope, if you are in the bleeding edge, if you are making some people mad, you're probably doing the right thing. And as a byproduct of that, there's going to be a group of people that are not going to like it, especially if you're going to be a specialist. And that's something that I always emphasize on. I think no one should be a generalist. People should be a micro specialist. That means you're going to say no to a lot of people. That means that you're going to have requests. People say, hey, do my tax returns. And you're like, well, are you a dentist? No, well, I only deal with dentists, and that's it. And then there's people going to hate you, quote unquote, right? So as long as you have haters, it's a good indicator that you're doing something right. I think the Apple versus Microsoft world is a great example. Apple people hate Windows people, and that's just the nature of the business. And every time Windows people criticize Apple, oh, it's too expensive, it's too hippie, or whatever, Apple people get empowered or emboldened by it. Think about politics. Democrats and Republicans, they will never convince the other side. And every time the other side tries to say something against the other side, it emboldens the person. So it just puts people deeper in their corners, and that's just human nature. As a brand, you kind of want that. You want the opposite side to be hating you because it empowers the ones that do follow you. The sixth one is the sacred words. I think we stay with the Apple example. Apple, a sacred word is labeling something right? iMac, iPhone, iPad, iPod. That's kind of a sacred word. It is part of the verbal or written branding. So if you have certain words that you say and you say often, or certain statements that you say, they become secret words and they become part of the subculture, right? You go to Starbucks, for example, and you ask for the chai latte, skim, whatever, right? Double shot. All those terms are part of the subculture of your brand. So if you want, and this is where the quirkiness happens. So a lot of folks like to add some quirkiness effect to their videos using those secret words, right? Using maybe a way they call their followers, like if I call all my followers the Hectorians, right? All of my fans are the Hectorians, and I say, hey, Hectorians, I'm making it a point that I'm identifying the people that are watching with a specific word, and that's sacred because no one else would use it. Or if somebody else tries to use it, they're gonna say, he's so copying Hector. But that's the important piece, right? That's part of brand strengthening, that people can identify not just your icons and your rituals and what you believe in, also certain words. And that's the easiest thing, right? You start, coming up with words or phrases that people don't do, and you repeat it over and over and over. People are going to start. You're going to basically own it, right? So like one of the things that I repeat all the time is that I tell people I help business owners take more vacations. No one else is saying it, so I'm taking ownership of it. And I want, when people hear the word vacation, to think of me. Why? Because what I do is to help people make more money, feel they have control of the business, feel that they can delegate their work, feel that all the systems are working smoothly, so they can disconnect and take a vacation. So I take it one step further, and my secret word is the desired future state of the customer. And lastly is the leader, right? The leader is, who's in charge of the brand, who inspires people in the organization, who inspires the followers and the users. And this is pretty simple, pretty basic stuff. This is going to be you, right, as the content creator. All right. So Dane, do you have any? I'll introduce you in a second officially, but on that slide, is there anything you want to add?
No, I think you're doing a great job. I think this is
Okay.
absolutely essential, and this is promoted not just by leaders like Tim Schmoyer and Daryl Eves. This is promoted by YouTube itself. They really encourage people to get the Patrick Hanlon book.
Absolutely. Thank you for the color commentary. So the next one's going to be what I like to call the basic content strategy. And this is something that it's taken me a while. This is pretty simple stuff, but it took me a while to think, because I was trying to think in the who, why, where, what, how, when dimensions, just because it's a really simple way of explaining it. This is what I call the who, why, what, why, and when of your basic content strategy for your videos. And you need to be able to answer these questions or help the customer answer these questions. And if you can plan for this correctly, I believe you are going to have effective videos. So number one is who's going to watch, right? Who's your target audience? Who's the persona? What's the profile of that person, right? You need to identify that. Who's going to watch my video? Because if your video is for the masses, for everyone, then your content is going to be different. But if your video is for construction managers, right, then you want to use the language and you want to use the things that will connect with that audience. And again, you're going to have a whole bunch of haters that don't like it because you are focusing and you're doing something narrow, but that's fine. That's okay. You need to define who that person is, because who that person is going to change the entire mood and how your video is going to be created. Well, the mood, the content, everything changes, right? Now, the second question you want to answer is, why are they watching? That's an important thing. People think that you create a video, you put it up in YouTube, and people will watch it because it's in YouTube. That's not true. People watch it because they either have a problem they want to solve or a question they need to answer. And some people will say, well, they just want to waste time or be entertained. I think that's a category. So looking to answer for a question or looking to solve a problem, it's some of the reasons why people watch a YouTube. I think another one is just being entertained. But if I'm talking to accounting professionals and I'm convincing them to do video, I'm not asking you to entertain people. I'm asking you to educate people, right? So I know that there are other reasons why people watch, but it's just in that dimension. So why are people watching? What's the problem they're trying to solve? What's the question they're trying to answer? Because if you know that, you will know how to title your video. If you know that, you know what the introduction of your video will look like, right? So if people are watching it because they're having problems reconciling their bank account, then you know your video has to say, you need help reconciling your bank account, right? This stuff translates very easily into your video title, the description, and the first 30 seconds of the video explaining what the video will do. Now, where they will find the content. Now, we're talking about YouTube. So in this case, we make the assumption that content will only be found in YouTube, but I think it goes beyond that. You want to embed your videos in your website blog. You probably want to write an article around the video and post the video as part of the value of the article. You want to post your videos in Facebook. You want to post them in Twitter. You want to promote your video outside of YouTube. This sounds self-explanatory. This sounds obvious, but a lot of people don't do it, and it's pretty much low-hanging fruit. Okay, then the what is the, let me just change, I had a misspelling there. The what is, what action steps, and this is a very important one. What action step will they take after watching your video to achieve some sort of personal fulfillment? So is the personal fulfillment the fact that they solved the problem, or the personal fulfillment the part that their question was answered? That it needs to be very clear in the video that these are the next things that you need to do as a result of watching the video in order to achieve that, whatever that personal fulfillment was. And again, not all of it has to be buying something from you. This is why the last two are more about how do we build up to that, right? So number 5 is how. How can they, sorry, I had to change this slides last minute here. So how can they engage with you or your content, more content, right? Your blog, whatever, your website, for free. Like, remember, YouTube is a free engine. So people have the expectation that there's going to be more free stuff. So you also want to say, by the way, after watching this video, click on this link. It will take you to my web page where it lays out all the steps, assuming it's a how-to video. Or by the way, you can go to my website, download this ebook, or you can go to my website and check out this calendar, or you can send me an email. I'll put you in a newsletter list. So I think there always needs to be a next step for free engagement, and that free engagement has to get you closer to that customer. So it has to gather the contact or get you closer to that customer. And the last one is when. When is the oh man, yeah, Dane, you're gonna kill me, man. Sorry. When is I keep making spelling corrections here. So when is the right time to buy the creator's product or service? So that's another thing. Don't think of YouTube videos as somebody will watch my video and then buy my stuff right away. It doesn't work like that. There's a process, right? There's trust building, there's brand building, but it needs to be clear that at some point in the future, they're watching free videos now, but at some point in the future, they're going to have money to pay for your services. At some point in the future, they're going to want to buy your course. Or at some point in the future, they're going to want to buy your book, your product, your consultation services. So it needs to be very clear that you're out there to serve them in a free context in that video, that you also provided an additional next step, and there will always be a when to engage with you. So I think that closes full circle on what I like to call the basic content or engagement strategy. So let me bring in Dane. And Dane, I told you I didn't have this is a slide I wanted. I thought you were gonna like this. So I wonder, I'll just tell you, what do you think about this framework?
I think that that's exactly right. You have to provide what you want at the exact time that people are looking at it. Now, technically, that's more of a paid approach, right?
Right.
Because you don't know when someone's going to want something. But if you're, and I'll show you some in your analytics, and I've been working on your analytics as you've been talking, so we're going to show people the deep dive into how your channel is working and why it's not. But,
so let me show you,
or what's not.
Real quick. I'll show you a slide real quick so we can move to that.
Hey,
so by the way, we brought Dane in. So Dane, his website is hey.com. Email him, hey@help.com. He is my official YouTube consultant. I actually tricked him into give me a free consultation and putting it live on a webinar at the same time. So sorry, Dane, you're already here. You can't back out anymore.
Uh-oh.
But I got a consultation from him in Cincinnati in a conference I went to a couple months ago, and I was blown away with how much stuff I didn't know about my own channel that he could tell, not even looking at the analytics, just looking at the overall. So I'm really impressed with Dane. I think I like to bring him into my community. I would love for people that are in the video world to, if they need help like figuring out YouTube as a strategy, he's the perfect person to do that. So let me share your screen. Are you ready, Dane? Do you want to?
Uh-oh. Am I ready? Okay, yeah, go ahead.
You want to do a quick introduction of yourself, or was that good enough?
Yeah, just Dane Golden. The company's hey.com. And what we're specializing in is just helping brands or businesses get customers coming back to their videos again and again, And we recommend they do it in just the way that Hector does it, is they share your expertise until people want to pay you for it. That's simply it. And it sounds counterintuitive. You want to charge for your expertise, right? But as Hector was saying earlier, people think they can get everything for free on YouTube or Google, even if they know they can't really something as sophisticated as what Hector teaches. So they may come to him, realize, wow, he really knows what he's talking about, and then they will hire him because they know that there's 5 or 10%, even if they've told him they don't want to be in charge of it themselves. So that's why they will hire him. And the percentage of people that would not that don't pay him either are people who want to do it themselves or just can't afford the service.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
perfect. Yeah, total sense. So dig right in, man. Give me my free
Okay.
consultation on
All
YouTube
right.
Analytics.
All right. Well, okay. So I think this is really appropriate to your audience because we look at the front end of YouTube, and for your audience that's super savvy with facts and figures and math, it's important to know that you can really improve your YouTube audience. You don't have to be cool, you don't have to be funny, you just have to share your expertise, but you can look at the math behind it in the same way you look at QuickBooks and see what's trending and what's not very easily if you just have the keys. So Hector gave me the keys about 30 minutes ago, and as he's been chatting, I've been listening, but I also been opening up some windows here to show you some things. So we can see some things very, very simply just by going to youtube.com/analytics. And if you have a YouTube channel, you can do this while you're logged into your own channel. But what we're seeing some very interesting things on Hector, and while he has a very, very good channel, we see some very interesting things. And that is, one, overall, people on average will watch his videos for about 7.5 minutes. And that's great. That's very good. And it's very in line with technical tutorials. But his videos are what? How long are they? An hour sometimes?
So I would say in terms of the median, right? So the most common middle
Yeah.
there would be 1 hour because I do 1 hour webinars. It's kind of like what I've been doing for the last 5 years. But I would say if I have to average it, it's 25 minutes. If I just look at all the, average 25 minutes.
All right. So what we talked about at the conference was that you really want to try to get people to watch all the way through. And I don't want to take anything away from this excellent webinar service that you've offered people for free, and that really does get people to come in. But as I said in the conference, I really think you could also add some very tactical, short, single topic videos that will really boost your views over time, because YouTube operates on an algorithm, and it's very simple. It's whoever gets people watching the longest wins, and those videos get promoted. And it's not necessarily just a single video, and it's also not necessarily just your own video. If you send traffic to somebody else's video and they watch a long time, you still get a bump up from that. So our goal is just to have people watch as far as possible to the end and then watch something else, whether it's yours or somebody else's. So that would mean to me that videos that were probably around 8 to 10 minutes long would actually make your channel really, really grow fast. So I know that, right, just looking from this number here.
So that's a really important insight. So you're saying, historically speaking, the last 28 days actually on this report, the analytics are telling me that if I break down my videos into 7-minute increments, it's more likely that I'll get 100% views.
Well, it's
closer
certainly
to that.
more likely. You won't, because everyone drops off from something, but your goal should be to get people to watch to the end and watch something else. That's the goal. And then you have to worry about what topics and your cadence in the videos and other things. But the key is that, and shorter is not always better. But I think in your case, you really have some tactical approaches that you could break down and be like a single topic short video. I think you really could do it. So we're seeing some other things here. We're seeing some very regular waves. And Hector, you watch trends all the time. You want to take a guess at what this really means here, why you're getting more traffic regularly on some days and not on
I
others?
I think this is a weekday weekend thing,
You got it.
and my crowd is a Monday to Friday crowd because they're business owners for the most part. So
And we're going to drill down into that and some other numbers. So I've opened up a whole bunch of tabs here, and that's exactly what we're seeing. And you can look at, so this happens to be subscriber traffic sources, or rather just traffic sources. But the 13th and the 14th of this month, those were a Saturday and Sunday. So we're seeing these valleys on weekends, and that means that people want to see your videos during the week. 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's a fifth day in there somewhere. I don't know why it's not showing here, but in general, oh yeah, it's Friday. Friday's a real bad day for you too.
does
So
it look like Wednesday and Thursday are the big days? It looks like for the most part, right?
I think anything Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is great for you. Other days, just ignore it unless you have something special that you think you can get people to show up for.
Now, in terms of actionable terms, right? Does that mean that I should not post new videos on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday? I should be posting them on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, or like what does that mean in terms of like
I
what I
would
can
agree.
do different?
Yeah, I would agree unless you are the type of channel that's posting every day, and that's fine. Some people do want to post something
Right.
every day, but just know that don't post your best videos on the weekends.
Okay, good, good. Now, that may not be true for other creators, right? Some creators may be weekend creators.
Yes, in fact, work with an automotive self-repair type of product, and they're huge on the weekends. I assume that people are at the automotive parts store in the parking lot watching the videos on their phone. So it could be very different. But let's take a look here and where are your traffic sources coming from? So we all sort of logically think that it's like Google, people come from search, but usually that's a small minority of where people are coming from. People usually max out at about 20% views from search in YouTube, and you're getting 43%, which means you're very tactical. People are coming to you with very tactical questions. And that's fine, but where you should be getting most of your traffic is from suggested videos, and that ratio is too small. And you also should be getting them from browse features. And those are the things that either come up immediately on your phone or when you go to youtube.com, or they come up in the right hand, well, it's on this, I think, is right hand for you. On the desktop, it comes up on the right. Those are suggested videos. And on mobile, it comes up below the phone, below the video on the phone.
Dane,
And
it looks like it looks like strategically speaking, I should be somehow figuring out how to get more views through suggested. But isn't that good that I'm getting a lot of search based videos?
yes, and we don't know if the people who are trying to solve it are people who want to learn how to do it themselves or are potential clients. So this may be very, very good as a lead generation, but imagine how much better it could be if you were getting 3 times the views. So, you know, it's a good baseline strategy and you're doing very good, but not as good as you could be. And I'm going to show you some other pieces here.
Is there a way to see what search terms? Oh, okay, you're gonna get there. Okay.
I already predicted your question. Now again, this is not, search is important, but it's not the only important thing, but it gives us clues as to what people want from you. And I think we should look over here at average view duration and then at the terms over here. And that's where I'm going to put my emphasis on. So QuickBooks Tutorials by far your most searched item. But what do we see over here? The third item, QuickBooks Online, gets watched longer than most videos. Also down here, I don't know if people can see it. It's pretty small, but you have to zoom in.
We can see it.
Okay, so QuickBooks Online is 2018 gets watched 13 minutes on average, where your other videos are getting watched sometimes only half that, which means to me there is a lot, you are not delivering as much as you could on QuickBooks Online, or just not a lot of people are using QuickBooks Online. but there is a lack of resources there, and that's an opportunity for you. Are you focusing on that as much or not as much?
I'll let you get to the point where you can see my top watch videos, and then
Okay.
maybe add up the math there.
It's a little bit hard to do. It'd be easier if you just told me.
Okay, so I believe I have more QuickBooks desktop videos versus QuickBooks Online. So that's true in terms of overall content. So I think when people search QuickBooks in general without specifying online or desktop, they're more likely to jump like finding a desktop one. But my most popular ones in the past year, so if I go lifetime, it's going to be desktop, but like trending is QuickBooks Online because there's more. So I don't have as many, but the ones that I have more views or longer watch times, which is why you're seeing a longer average duration.
So that's a niche. I mean, not that you don't do really well across all QuickBooks, but that's a niche where you could really emphasize and continue to grow faster, because what that's saying is that there's not enough information out there on this topic.
You're saying I should do more QuickBooks Online videos. That's what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. Yes.
Okay.
And you can actually do a Google Trend. Do you ever look at Google Trends?
I don't. What is that?
Let's just do that while we're here. I'm going to take an audible here. Trends.google.com. Okay. And Trends is a great way of seeing what people are looking for. So if I was to look for QuickBooks Online and just to see how it's doing, I'm going to look in the United States on web searches. Okay, so it's pretty stable. But what about on YouTube? Let's see if it's any different. Okay, so stable. So it's not really growing, but what this is telling me is that because people are searching, that means that there's not enough information. So the trend is not growing. Trend for information is pretty stable, but people are looking to you to help them with that. Okay, so this is this is traffic devices. So usually on YouTube, more than half of the viewers come from mobile, but not with you. And you want to guess why?
I don't know. Why?
Okay, I'll tell you why.
More people? Yeah, go ahead. You're the consultant.
Because when you show, let me go to, well, people can see it anyway, but when you go to one of your videos, this is not very visible on mobile, right? So when you do your webinars, it's almost impossible to see on a phone. So what people are doing when they're on the phone and they're on the subway or the bus, or they're waiting in the back of the car, or they're waiting in line at the supermarket, they're actually listening to your videos and not watching. And that's why you see here on mobile, it's only 5:32, and you're actually versus 8 minutes for computer, and tablet even longer.
That's an interesting insight. So wait, hold on. Let me just build my mind here for a second. So
yeah,
the mobile users are more likely to just listen to the video, but my videos are very visually, it's a demo, it's a software demo.
Yes. So you're leaving money on the table here, because your computer should really only be, and this is very, very common with anyone who does software tutorials. They all make the same mistake, because they're assuming everyone else is on a huge monitor when they're watching it, and that they'll maximize the screen. And that's a challenge with webinars, because if you were to do it the most optimized way for your audience, you would be zooming in on different features, and it would be a lot of cuts, which is time intensive to do that type of editing. But if you were to make these shorter tutorials, as I'm recommending, you want to do a lot of zooming in and then watch it on your phone to see if it's understandable, and then you can get access to about 3 times the audience.
So the trends are telling me that I need to, if I have to make videos that are phone minded, so they have to figure out a way for somebody on the phone to watch this, and also to be entertaining enough with audio. I mean, to be good enough with just audio without the visuals.
Your audio is good enough. Your audio is good enough.
Okay.
Because people are coming to get informed. the mobile people, I think, are thinking of you much more like a podcast. And I listen to YouTube videos actually without watching them quite a bit. For other people who are helping people learn how to do YouTube, I will be, let's say I'm washing the dishes at my house, I just put it in my pocket. I don't, and I listen to it on the earbuds. So it's a doable thing, and your tutorials are helpful even without video. But what they're doing is they're signing off. And if you really want to help them the most and expand your audience by double or triple, you really want to make it mobile first. And that's not easy to do with a big software program. And it may take a while for you to figure that out, but I encourage that to anyone who works with software tutorials to think mobile first. Also, keep in mind here, and we could probably nail this down if we had the data, but they're watching the longest on tablet. And I'll tell you why I think that is. I think that this is someone's watching this after work on their couch while someone else is watching television. Because that's when I use my tablet. Does that make sense?
It goes back to like when we were talking about the strategy, who's watching the video. You should also think about who and in what context. Because it's not just who the target audience is, it's what are they most likely to be doing while they're watching the video. So I have to think about that too when I produce my content.
And surprising to me, and probably surprising to you, people who are watching on connected TVs are watching for 16 minutes, twice as long as they are watching on your computer. So people are training just 2% of your views, but it's making up 4% of your watch time. So people are very engaged for these long periods.
So that's like a TV that has YouTube built in and they're watching it like in a conference room type of thing.
Yeah. So I want to move on to some other good insights here. Now something on your home page here you're not making use of is called the shelves. Wait. Yeah, it's called shelves. Sections. So you need to add a section here, and you need to have different playlists because you just basically have reverse chronological order, but you need to organize them by topics. So people, when they come to your homepage, they see more videos, more options. Okay.
You want to talk about the thumbnails? Because actually, I changed my entire thumbnail strategy based on what I learned from you guys.
You're moving in the right direction. You're moving in the right direction. The thumbnail is it's the movie poster for the video, and if people aren't excited about it, then they won't click, and you never get a view. So you're moving in the right direction. It is pretty readable. I think this needs to be a little bit less text, a little bit more clear. It sort of needs to cooperate with the headline, the title, rather than duplicate. I think your idea is right with using multiple colors here, but I think you really need to do a different face, each one.
Those three are part of a series. So I wanted people to associate them with each other, the first three. I mean, you can see that thumbnails are all over the place. There's so many
I think it's a start in the right direction. Thumbnails simply should have maybe 1 or 2 words of text, a engaging image of the person that's in the video looking at the camera, and ideally not just with a smile, but I like to do mid-talk like that, or something where you really want to hear what they have to say next. Does that make sense? So it's a frame from the video where they're explaining something in an engaging way, maybe even an emotional way, but not you don't want to have too much emotions with your channel. It's not about emotions, but clearly someone's interested in this, and thus they really want to click to find out that next thing you want to say.
All right, Dane, I'm gonna run a quick polling question, just a quick one, just to kind of see the direction that kind of gets people stretching a little bit and resting their mind for a second.
I'm going to say I'm not liking it. I'm not sure I'm liking it so far. What should I rank? What should I rate?
Yeah, you gotta put that it's amazing and mind blowing.
Oh, amazing. Okay, let's put amazing. Everyone put amazing.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a big change for me because I've never really thought about creating content for mobile users. Like I always think of the persona, the person watching my video is a person sitting in an office with two monitors. On the second monitor, watching my tutorial. On the first monitor, kind of following the steps on their own QuickBooks file. That's how I picture my target audience.
Yeah.
Now, Dane, you want to, before we close the polling question, you told us something about why you focus on how-to videos. You have your own way of, like, you have a reason why you only work with, like, this is your thing, how-to videos, right?
Absolutely. And I'm okay with taking questions too from the comments if people have them. But the thing about how-to videos is that it's the same really as the content marketing blog that people have been doing for a decade, right? Content marketing has been determined by businesses again and again to work. Why? Because people search for how to do something, not exactly what you sell, not your exact product, but your expertise around your product. It's things you know about your industry that people are looking for, and then they read it and they find that you know what you're talking about. And by the way, here's what we sell if you want it, right? That's sort of the concept of content marketing. Would you say I'm correct, Hector?
Yeah, that's how I think of it strategically anyway. I share my content to prove to people that I know what I'm talking about, but not to alienate my target customer, because I certainly want business to come out of it. Well, it takes a lot of conviction to create so much content for free without that immediate reward,
But like you said, 95% of your customers are coming from YouTube.
Right. Yeah, after several years, you definitely see the value.
Yeah, and that's one of the other things is how to videos. Certainly you can do them with paid media, but if you don't have a paid media budget, this is the most affordable, effective way of creating marketing. And it's long tail marketing. Sometimes it starts slow, but then it builds. It's like inventing a product. If you invent something like a mouse, right? If you invent a mouse, you can sell that mouse for several years. The same thing about making a video. You put a little bit of time in it, and it continues to deliver over several years. It's an asset.
You're either going to create commercial videos that is all about selling your services, but you're going to pay for it by advertising, or you can create videos that are not about your services, that are about adding value, helping someone, and you're going to get free traffic, but you're going to pay for it with time and the investment. I mean, it's a simple formula, I guess.
And there's nothing wrong with sales videos. They're just much more expensive and potentially more risky, because sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. If you really have a strategy and you're working with someone that has experience, with sales videos and funnels, that's great, and you should do that. But this is a way of organically, meaning at a lower budget without doing paid media, of getting people to come back to your channel again and again. And what happens, like with your channel, which I like so much, is that people begin to be loyal to you. They know who you are, they trust you, much more than they would if you were just writing a blog. Because if you were writing a blog, they would say, okay, he knows what he's talking about, but what do they get out of video? They get voice tonality, they get body language, they see more if they would like to work with you or not. And that is a very intangible thing that we don't get from blogs, and we don't think about too much, and it's very difficult to put into words. But basically, we know whether we want to work with you or not, and that saves a whole bunch of time in sales.
It's trust building, I would say, right? So Dane, and I know we got 10 minutes left. Let me make a couple of requests if you can. Can you pull up like my most popular video and kind of like, let's analyze that one to see if there's anything we can learn from that. And I would love if you could squeeze in some time. You have some really cool YouTube search tools, like little shortcuts here and there. I don't know how much of them you want to give away, because I know that's your secret sauce.
Just bookmarks it, and people can do those.
No, you had the search term. You had like special ways to use search terms to find what people are searching for.
Sure. All right. Well, let's take a look at the last 4 weeks here and what video is more popular. So the one that's getting the most watch time is, surprise, QuickBooks Online. And let's just take a deeper dive into that video. So mostly more than half the audience from the US. It's important to know that you don't have to get views from subscribers. You're getting views on this mostly from non-subscribers, and that's okay.
Because it's
That means it's,
search. Because it's search, right? Because that makes sense. How if it's
yeah,
not subscribers because they're searching you, not because they follow you.
that's right. And let's go for, let's take a, so that was, let's do audience retention on that one. And it was called QuickBooks Online 18,
That's that's,
218. So what
that's
do
a
we
2 hour,
see here?
by the
Yeah,
way.
so it's 2 hours. So what does this, what the heck is this? This is the heat map of where people are watching the video. So some people are coming in and either it's taking you too long to get started or they're just not sure, or maybe they think, well, I'll just come back later when I have more time, and that period never comes because when do you have 2 hours to watch something about QuickBooks Online? Um, but then there's a bump here. So why is there a bump? And that's probably because you create little links in your descriptions of where these different points are. So they're probably clicking on this in the description and they're coming to this bump. And so that's really what they're saying is where the video actually starts for them. And that's 6 minutes in. So really for the person that to get the most audience.
Let me give you some context, some
Yeah, go ahead.
content. You probably haven't seen the video. In the video, I actually say, I'm going to show you from soup to nuts how to use QuickBooks
Yeah.
Online. I'm going to show you how to create a new account. If you already have a new account, go straight to minute 636 or something like
Okay.
that. So I think
Okay.
that people are skipping to 636 because they already have a QuickBooks Online account. But it's the ones that don't have one, I show them how to create one. I guess that could be. I mean, I think that's telling us that the behavior of the watchers.
So what this is telling me is that, yes, some people really want to watch this long video, but I still believe, and I don't want to stop you from doing these great videos, but I really believe if you could break it into pieces, that your audience would grow and grow quickly, because they just, think about it this way. If you just started here with just 40% of your audience remaining, you would maintain most of that audience for another hour. But if by starting here, you've already lost almost everyone in a short period of time. By 1 minute and 12 seconds, you've lost 55% of your audience, 56% of the audience. So,
What I mean, people know it's a 2 hour video. Why
yeah,
am I losing all the audience? Am I really boring in that first minute? Is that what it is?
no, it's just they don't have time.
But why they click on it in the first place?
They just want to see.
So
I'm saying
if they
that
just want to
there's
see,
a
that means that.
psychology. There's
So
a psychology of length.
when you say they just want to see, that means that inside those first 30 seconds, I have to somehow put on a show so they get excited about what they see.
I just don't think you're going to get people to watch for 2 hours.
It's accounting.
Right. If you can get people to watch for accounting, which is the amazing thing is you really do. Now, I don't want to take anything away from this because it may very well be that the person who has watched just a few minutes knows you're an expert and they now want to watch another one of your videos, or they already want to hire you because, wow, this guy really knows his stuff. Because most businesses, your clients, don't need to know everything you know. So even if you tell them everything you know, they don't need to know it. They just need to know that you know it. And this is how you've demonstrated it to them so they can feel confident in you and work with you. So it may be enough, but as far as actually growing a YouTube channel that can get you out to a larger audience, this approach is a challenging one because it's limiting your growth as a channel. That being said, you have your loyal audience and they really love you, and I don't want to take anything away from that because you offer amazing value.
And before you leave, because I know you have to leave
Yeah,
soon,
search.
there was something that blew my mind, which is the searching tricks. I
Okay,
think that this audience
so
will.
all right, so I'm just going to search for, now I have some other apps running that give Google Ads costs, but so we can ignore those for the moment. So just ignore those little numbers coming up. But what happens? So we're doing a search for Google's online, rather QuickBooks Online, and we get the most common topics, right?
The first
Inventory.
two, the purple ones, those are the ones that you searched, correct?
I think so. Let's remove those.
Let's remove them, yeah.
So no, I guess not. I don't know.
Right. Those are just like the top two suggested ones.
I can't remember. I've been doing so many searches, I don't really remember. And this app adds weird stuff. But let's assume that the thing after that's auto-populating afterwards is the most popular thing. Bank feeds, payroll 2018, reconcile bank account. It may have been, I think because I'm logged in as you, it may have been what you were looking for. So that's what people look for. But and that means that these are good topics in general. This is sort of like the most basic research you can do. But let's do another trick here, and that's an underscore. This is a Google search underscore trick. Now, what happens if we put it under? We have to do the search first, and then you put the underscore space. And the most popular thing for QuickBooks Online is Hector Garcia, QuickBooks Online, and that's relating to any searches anywhere. Isn't that amazing?
That means that people are searching my name?
Yeah, people want to know you and QuickBooks Online. And the second is Intuit.
That's how you build a brand, baby.
Online tutorial. And that means that you're more popular than Intuit QuickBooks Online.
Not that I am, that put somebody searching the name versus putting the word into it, you're saying.
That's what popularity is.
Oh, okay. But that one doesn't help me. But what is the other one? What do the other ones tell me?
Okay, so how to reconcile in QuickBooks Online. So this just takes the phrase QuickBooks Online and puts it in context instead of just what comes afterwards. It puts it in context of a phrase. So these are the three most popular. How to reconcile in QuickBooks Online, Xero versus QuickBooks Online, Hector Garcia, QuickBooks Online 2018, undeposited funds versus desktop, payroll, Australia, inventory. So these are things that are very, very popular searches. And you can come back here and look, just use the A here and adding expenses, or B's bank reconciliation, or C's chart of accounts. And the problem though is if you actually hit return, you actually have to, and I'm sorry to say this, it's just very, very quirky. I didn't invent it. You have to actually do a search without that thing again, and then after the search, come back and add that.
Okay, so let's think about the strategy. So this means that I'm going to search the general theme of the stuff that I want to create.
Yes.
I'm going to click search. Then I'm going to add a underscore and a space, and if you do it now, and it will give me as suggestions what are the top things with that. I guess it's supposed to pop up, right? It's still loading.
It's still
give me, it will give me the top suggestions with QuickBooks Online in it, but with other words. So that will give me a clue as to what people are searching. Correct?
That's exactly right.
So I should be creating a video of how to reconcile QuickBooks Online. I should be doing a Xero versus QuickBooks Online video. I should be doing an undeposited funds video. That should be that should be in my content calendar.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Okay. All right, then I know you have to fly. So thank you very much for squeezing time for doing this. I'm gonna put up a slide with your contact information. Do you have any last words that you want to add to the?
Oh, I think what I think is that it's interesting to look at the analytics and it's helpful, but the most important thing is just share your expertise. You have some very, very smart people in your audience. They can share their expertise and bring in customers, and YouTube is one of those ways. You can also do it on Facebook video, LinkedIn video. We help businesses with approaches on that, both the non-paid media, meaning you don't use it for advertising, and the paid side. And I think you're going to put up a slide if people want to contact me.
Yeah, and you charge $180 an hour for consulting?
Yeah, but I'm giving a discount to your viewers.
Right. They just have to mention that they saw it in the webinar.
Just say Hector in the description, in the subject.
Okay, perfect. And then you pay me a commission in consulting fees.
I think it's 100% commission.
All right, Dane.
It's
Thank you very
the
much.
email. I just want to tell my email.
Yeah.
Help
at hey.com.
at hey.com.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'll stay up because I know he needs to leave. I'll stay up for a few minutes for questions. So we're officially open. Thank you very much, Dane. I know you have another meeting to go to. Appreciate that very much.
Thanks,
so I'm gonna leave it
Hector.
open.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm gonna leave it open for questions. Let me see who else has questions here. Jenny says people start watching, but then they realize later on it's 2 hours and they log out. That's true. JC says I should take my 2-hour video, edit it into little pieces, 7-minute pieces. That makes sense. Lloyd says that my videos are technical and I shouldn't be focusing on trying to gather the small screen mobile audience because people watching a video in the supermarket probably won't learn anything. That makes sense, Lloyd. That's good comment there. Sarah said, bingo, earbuds in a sofa after work on the iPad. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think I don't have any more. Don't think I have any more questions here or feedback. So thank you so much, and I'll stop the recording and have a wonderful day.